Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas. Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejados.
Because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Hello, everybody. I'm Nathan.
I'm John.
And welcome to episode 115 of Adventures and Mousecapades. This week, we're going to discuss dog psychology and how a three-legged pit bull is way smarter and a lot more chill than a French bulldog.
Wait a minute. Am I on the right podcast?
Absolutely. I mean, the dogs live here in Orlando. That's Disney related, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Now, this week, I am joined by John. He is a master metal worker at Disney, although he would never use the label master or anything like that. But trust me, he's pretty awesome at what he does. John works behind the scenes as a CNC machinist to design and make some of the stuff we see in the parks every day, and some of the things that we'll never see but are critical to keep the show running. Welcome, John.
How's it going?
It's going great. It's going great. Thanks for coming over and having a chat.
It's good to be here.
So what's your Disney background? Did you grow up a Disney fan? I know you grew up alongside our good friend here, Bill, up in Boston.
I actually had never been to the park until I was 21 years old.
Wow.
I came to Florida for my 21st birthday celebration. We went to Daytona Beach for the Daytona Beach experience and said, let's go to Disney World.
Perfect.
So sometime in the mid-90s.
Okay. Nice.
Not too long after Hollywood Studios opened.
All right. So you've been into metalworking and machinery and things like that for kind of most of your life. How did
all of my adult life, longer than I can remember.
How did that passion kind of come to fruition? Was that something you started in school? Like, what's kind of the origin story?
I started by watching my grandfather do housework, keeping the house maintenance up as a small child and working in the basement with him with whatever might need to be done. So I thought I was going to be a carpenter. That was the path I was taking in middle school to getting into woodworking. And
right.
I got into high school and somebody said, hey, do you want to do the same thing but do it indoors out of the snow? That sounds great. Sign me up. Well, here you go. You want to be a machinist.
That's cool.
So a lot of it's similar, making parts out of metal instead of making parts out of wood. So it's like detail woodworking kind of translates into machining. If you know one, you kind of understand a little what the other one is.
Right. And you're still cutting big chunks of things into smaller chunks of things that hopefully make something else.
Yes.
Yeah. What was your kind of career path and how did you end up at Disney?
Started in trade school in high school because I figured I probably didn't want to go to college. I had enough with school by the time I was 14, so I went to trade school in high school and started to learn machining and I got a job working for the shoe companies and local job shops doing small mom and pop shops around town where I grew up.
Okay.
And I don't know, fast forward to like 15-ish years later, I think I want to move to Disney World.
You probably wanted to get out of the snow.
Yeah, I did want to get out of the snow. I was tired of it. Bill said, come on down. Okay, all right.
It wasn't too hard of a pull to...
No, it wasn't. He didn't twist my arm too badly.
Excellent.
So I've been here for 15 years now, and 5 of it with Disney World.
So can you kind of share what your job is? How would you describe what you do?
On a day-to-day basis, I repair, replace as needed, make new parts for most of the attractions. Anything that has wheels on it has wear. So
yeah.
The rides will come into our shop, into Central Shops where I work, and they'll get taken apart, and we'll go over them and see what needs to be repaired, or if it can't be repaired, replace it.
Got it.
Basically, a day-to-day is replacing, repairing. I just don't know what it's going to be exactly day-to-day because every day is different.
Right. So a lot of ride vehicles and things like that. Do you ever have to go out like to the rides and repair stuff on site?
Every once in a while, I'm in the park. It's very rare. Once or twice a year, maybe.
What is kind of one of the more temperamental rides that you have to... Let me rephrase that. What do you see a lot?
I used to see a lot of that. I forgot what it's called now, but that dino ride in Animal Kingdom.
Yep.
That's now torn down because it was terrible. It was a carnival ride.
Oh, yes.
They tried to turn it into a permanent ride, and it was just so much work.
Got it.
Turning it from a carnival ride into something that's a permanent fixture.
I'm trying to think of the name.
The name's escape.
Yes, it is escaping me as well. I know exactly where it was. I remember looking at that and going like, I don't think a bigger person like myself should ever get on a ride like that.
Well, you didn't miss anything. It was supposed to move and feel like like a wooden roller coaster, kind of get that vibe to it.
Yeah.
And it's scary.
Right.
Because Disney rides aren't supposed to do that. They're supposed to be solid, rock solid.
Right.
But that was built into the design. It's supposed to have some give and take, like a bridge. Going over a bridge always has some give to it, or it's going to break. So they tried to shore it up, and it didn't quite work.
Can you share some of the other projects that you've worked on? Like, what are some of the things that people may see that you've worked on that they would see in the parks every day?
So if you go to a park, starting with the trams that take you from your car to the park,
right?
Do a little bit of maintenance work on the trams to probably everything on property that has wheels except for the buses. For some reason, we don't work on the buses. That's a whole maybe DOT thing. But we do work on the trams because I think technically the trams don't go on the street,
right?
On the roads, but the buses do go on the road. So that's a different department than
Got it.
Same umbrella, but different department.
Right. So basically, if it's metal, you guys are involved in it.
Yes.
Wow, that's a lot.
A little bit of plastic and a little bit of wood. Our shop does the fiberglass stuff too for the shell that will go outside of the tram,
right?
Things like that,
right? Were those trams custom built?
Yes, they were.
Oh my gosh!
Just like the monorail was custom built.
Wow. So was that done in house by Disney?
I believe they were both done by companies that are well versed in those things. I believe the monorail came from a Canadian company that builds trains.
Okay, that makes sense.
And the tram might be another company, I think, that does things like the trucks that move their luggage cars at the airport, I think. Don't quote me on that one.
Okay. Now, that was kind of your first exposure of working for Disney, right? Is being in one of those outside contractors and doing some work.
Yes.
What kind of stuff have you worked on there?
What I say is in a previous life, we, a small team of about 5 of us, built all of the tap points for entrances to all of the parks in all of the U.S.
Oh my
So that's
gosh.
Florida and California. So if you went into the park and tapped your ID or tapped your ticket to get in, the first wave, that I had something to do with that. That was pretty cool.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So they go and change those every so often. So it might not be true anymore. But
Right.
say 5-ish years ago, 6 years ago,
Yeah.
I touched every tap point that went in from Florida to California.
Well, thank you for enabling all of us.
So that's a high point for me. Say I get to, if somebody gets into the park, I had something to do with it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
So from going in to probably coming out, when you see the fireworks, I did some of the mortars that hold the fireworks
Oh my gosh.
for all of the parks in Florida.
Okay.
And also most, if not all of the cruise ships.
Oh,
So
wow.
some of the newer ones that are, within the past few years I probably didn't touch, but
So what does that look like? Are these like big racks with
a big
tubes in them?
stainless box that's probably 5 foot by 6 foot square by 4 foot. Pretty big cube.
Yeah.
Stainless with a hinge on top that opens, and there's mortars on the inside of that they can racks that they can aim, like fishing rod racks, basically, that they can aim.
Okay.
And they're all set up ahead of time, and then they close it up and lock it. So and they can keep the rain out.
Oh, wow.
Those are fun. Every so often, those have to be replaced because everything on a ship, even if it's stainless, will rust after a while.
Right. I heard somewhere that the mortar system that they use for fireworks here in Florida, like at Magic Kingdom, is that all pneumatic now?
I believe it is pneumatic.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of air pressure.
It is.
Wow. Because you're throwing a shell, several hundred, maybe 1,000 feet up?
Yeah. It's higher than, how tall is the castle in Magic Kingdom? It's higher than that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's way higher than that. I think they had to stay under 200 feet. Because if you hit 200 feet, you got to put a red blinking light on top of it for the FAA.
Yes, and Walt did not want any red blinking lights. I remember
Exactly.
that.
So everything's just under 200 feet, but those shells are going 1,000 feet easy. That's amazing. How long does something like that, like when they come and say, hey, I need a new rack for mortars or whatnot on one of the Disney ships, what does that project look like? How does it come to you? What's your involvement? Because I think you do some of the design.
Say for a rack that goes onto the cruise ship, they have a tight timeline and say we need it delivered on this date because it's going installed onto the ship on this date because the ship is only in dock for
like 8
so many hours,
yeah.
and they have certain things that they do every time. They're painting now. They're whatever they're doing.
Right.
They have certain availability. They can't just do it any day they're in port. Basically.
Right.
So
right.
they have that set time. We have to have it by this. It's drop dead. So if you can't do it,
Yeah.
we'll get somebody else to do it.
Gosh.
So it starts the I guess the countdown timer starts right then.
Yeah.
It's not usually too stressful because we do have that deadline and we know what we have to do.
Right.
It's not like we need it tomorrow.
Right.
We're going to need it in 3 weeks, but don't give us to us in 3 weeks and a day.
Yeah. Okay.
So say it's 3 weeks and it takes us usually 2 weeks to do it. So it's not tight
Yeah.
time frame, but it is a hard deadline.
And then do you have to do like intricate design work, or like how much do you have to do?
So for that, it's all hands on deck. So everybody gets in, and maybe I'm ordering some materials and ordering hardware and maybe getting some welding supplies for the welders. That's
Okay.
not my department, but wearing many hats, you got to help everybody out where they can.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of welding going on, and they're not going to have time to order their stuff.
Right.
The welder's not going to be away from his welding machine for any amount of time.
Right.
So each project could be a little different. Even though we did them before, the workload could be a little bit different. This time, okay, we have leftover hardware from last time. We don't have to worry about that
Okay.
at this time. Or this time we have a shorter window, so we have to figure out how we can work in shifts to get this done.
And then you have to say if you need to fabricate some stuff, then you're designing in the computer what needs to happen or what needs to be built and the cuts that need to happen and all the rest of that stuff.
Yeah, there'll be a little bit of design usually for the. Sometimes we get prints, blueprints.
Okay.
Say this is what we want, or we'll just get a outline of what the enclosure needs to be. It needs to be this 3 foot by 4 foot by 5 foot, and it needs to have a hinge
Right.
hood. And it has to be this thick metal. What you put on inside, how you design is okay, but we need
Got it.
We need 32 mortars that are 2 inches or whatever the number is.
Got it.
So they get a little bit of flexibility,
Okay.
knowing that we have to deliver it in a short amount of time. They try to give us some flexibility.
Okay. I heard Bill mention once that you were involved in building one of the figureheads or one of the characters that's on one of the back of one of the Disney ships. Is that right?
Well, the names of the ships always escape me. I know the ships when I see them, but the cleaning Fantasia brooms for one of the ships that are cleaning and possibly painting the back of the ship. I helped design and put those together.
Oh,
That
that's
was
so
fun.
cool. That's
A
neat.
lot of welding and fabricating, so I had a little bit of work to do on that, but
Right.
mostly it was helping out other departments.
Right.
I am not a welder myself, but I help when I can.
Yeah, that's cool. So when Disney is building a new ride, I would imagine they're working with some outside company that does a lot of that initial design and build and installation. Or are you involved or your department involved in any of that stuff for a new ride?
We're mostly involved in the maintenance schedule. We'll have an outside vendor that all they do is design, say, coasters for the world's largest amusement parks. If you name a park, some of these designers have done, I can't think of the names off the top of my head, but
No, it's okay.
European names that are hard to pronounce.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
They'll do the design and possibly the install. And once they get them up and running, they hand them over to us. And our department comes up, not me specifically, but our department comes up with the maintenance schedule. How often do these need to be maintained? So we'll take one apart early.
Yeah.
And say, okay, how much wear do we have on it? What does our premature wear look like?
Right.
Are we having any issues with parts wearing faster than what we expect? By doing that a couple times, we can get a maintenance interval going.
Okay, that makes sense. And so it sounds like on any given week or any given day, there are, some ride vehicles from various different rides that are offline that are sitting in your shop getting worked over. And then I'm guessing, work through the whole, like if there's 100 vehicles on X, Y, or Z ride, you've got 1 or 2 in the shop and then you just rotate through them all?
Right. Like if say Slinky had 5 trains, I'm not sure, but if it had 5 trains, maybe one of them is in the shop getting rebuilt and they're running 4.
Okay.
And maybe they'll also have a backup that I forgot about. So they're running 4 and have a backup ready to go.
Right.
And then one of them's in maintenance, and then that one goes in, say that's number 5, and then number 4 will come in.
Yeah.
That'll go out, and number 2 will come in, and then I'll go back in, number 3 will come in, and we'll cycle through them one at a time normally.
Right.
Unless the ride shuts down completely, like Splash, and then they'll all come in.
Yeah. Or Rock and Roller Coaster. I would imagine you have a bunch of those cars in right now.
Rock and Roller Coaster is one that we got them all at once.
I know you can't answer that question, but why the heck does that thing go down so often?
I like to say it's people messing with the rides by taking their park map and getting one of the sensors. Holding it over their head. Some of the attractions you can make it break, and guests like to make things break.
Interesting. So it's a safety sensor that's getting tripped.
Yes, like something is not right. Maybe one of the cars came detached, or someone's hat fell off. Why? Someone came out of the ride. Why? The sensor says something's wrong.
Right.
Something here that shouldn't be here anymore. The car should be gone already. Why is something still here?
Oh my God. So it's just finicky.
And it's usually the
people
back
can
car
trick
too.
it.
And if you stretch out your scarf or your hat,
Yeah.
you have to stretch pretty far to make it work. But
Yeah.
if you've got long arms and you're creative, you can trip one of those sensors.
Huh.
So there is work on getting smarter about the sensors, knowing if it's a park map or a car that's maybe going slower than it should.
Right.
Like, why is the car taking so long to get through here?
Right.
Something's wrong. It's slowing down.
Interesting. All right. Well, to listeners at home, please, whatever you do, do not take that as advice or guidance on how to break a ride. I will be very upset because you will make thousands of people have to wait. Don't do that. Be nice to everybody. So that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, as far as I know, that's common knowledge.
Well, I guess I'm not the kind of person who goes to figure out how to break a ride, so it wasn't common to me. But that's interesting. What?
Yeah, it doesn't actually break it, but it trips the sensor and the sensor shuts everything down for safety reasons.
Right.
So don't know why the sensor is tripping.
So
they have to stop the ride and check all of the sensors. Is the sensor malfunctioning? What's going on? We don't know.
Okay.
Did someone's hat fall off and it's covering a sensor? They actually have to walk the whole ride.
And that's why it takes so
there
long
isn't
to
something else wrong, because they don't want to start it up and find out there was, say, a line of malfunctioning sensors.
Right. Because you don't want to walk into the Swiss cheese model of just because you found one thing, it's masking that there's actually 3 other things that are a problem. Okay, that makes sense. All right, this one's going to hit kind of close to home for me. What's the deal with Rise of the Resistance? Like, what keeps breaking on Rise?
There is a lot of technology, a lot of cutting edge, you could say bleeding edge technology in Rise of the Resistance, where a lot of pieces have to communicate with each other to keep it going in different areas. I don't know if you've experienced that attraction or not.
Oh, several times, yeah.
You can see there's a lot going on, and if one section is not communicating well with another section or loses communication for a second, I'm not sure of the communication type, if it's Bluetooth, if it's Wi-Fi, but either, something. Communication can drop for a second. And then, like I said before, the sensors, the home says, car over here is not communicating. Why not?
Right.
What's going on?
There was an escape of some parameter and shut the whole thing down.
Yes. So they kind of err on the side of safety on that. They could say ignore because that sensor just goes off all the time. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong. But so whenever they go caution on the side of safety.
Yeah.
So no one gets hurt.
That makes sense.
You don't want to see someone get hit by one of those cars or something.
Right. Do you think that we'll ever see, and feel free to say you can't answer this question, but do you think we'll ever see those cannons move again in Rise of the Resistance?
I'm trying to remember which cannons you're talking about.
So these are the giant laser cannons that you kind of go in front, and when Rise first opened, kind of like think of like an old pirate cannon, like they'd be out towards the gun port, and then they'd recoil and move out of your way, and the car would try to scoot through between that. They probably lasted a few months, and they've been just hard back against the back wall ever since.
I rode that shortly after it went public.
Yeah.
It was my first time on it and my only time, so I did not know that they weren't working.
Oh.
So I don't know all the secrets.
Fair enough.
I assume that there's some premature wear going on there.
Yeah.
That they have a hard time with. I've heard things like that where something they expect it to last quite a while.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, because lots of close parts moving together in unison. All it takes is one one to wear or one to fail, and the whole system fails.
You've got these giant set pieces. I mean, those. I don't know what they're made out of. I mean, imagine that it's a little bit of an aluminum frame with a fiberglass skin on it, but still, there's a bunch of weight, and these things were pistoning forward and back, and something had to wear out a lot sooner than they thought it was. So,
yeah, they normally test that stuff for a good amount of time. Like as the ride's getting installed, they'll be testing that constantly. Might run 24/7 to see if there's any failures and see how long it takes to wear. But being in the real world, maybe it gets to see a little bit of the weather, or there are factors that they didn't factor in that cause it to fail early.
Well, here's hoping those things make it into your shop at some point in the.
I am sure that we'll be back working again. It's just a question of when.
Yeah,
maybe the next time it goes down the whole thing goes down for maintenance.
I don't think they've taken that offline.
I don't believe it has been down.
Yeah. I mean, it's been down.
Not fully down for maintenance.
Yeah.
Not for a maintenance cycle.
Right. It hasn't gone through a maintenance cycle. That's a great question. What is the average kind of maintenance cycle for a major attraction? Is it like an annual thing, like down for a week, or every few years? I'd imagine it depends on the attraction.
It depends on the attraction. Like the coasters, they can maintain the cars, bring in a car maybe once a year or so.
Okay.
But some of the rides, the coasters, if they're outdoors, they'll get the outdoor wear and tear. They might need to go down more often than one that's indoors. The one that's probably the most often is any of the water rides.
Yeah.
'Cause the water wears on everything, whether it's indoors or outdoors, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So those seem to go down the most.
Has your shop been involved in the retheming of Splash Mountain into Tiana's Bayou Adventure?
I know nothing about that. I wish I could tell you more.
There may or may not have been a wink with that. I am not at liberty to discuss anything that is said off the microphone. So, that is a very friendly way of saying I can't talk about that. I appreciate that. What's the most difficult build that you've worked on?
The most difficult build. That's a tricky question. There's little bits and pieces that are super tricky. Sometimes a build has its hiccups here and there. I'd say they all have their challenges. I don't have one that sticks out that says this was a real bear to get through.
I guess what's your favorite build? Like what's the thing that you're most proud of that you've had a hand in?
The thing I was most proud of was a small thing for Rise of the Resistance that it was just about to go public the next day, and it was down because two pieces weren't mating.
Okay.
And one just had to be shaved down a little bit. Now, that's very simple, but it needed to go, so I think the press day was the next day.
Oh, my gosh.
So that needed to get done, and I got that done so we could get open in time for that.
Yeah.
And there was, as you know, headaches getting that thing going.
Yes.
A lot of moving pieces in it.
A ton.
That was the last one bit to get it going for opening day.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's just a little thing, but it was well worth it.
Yeah. Well, I say on behalf of everybody who's ever been on Rise or really anything else at the parks, thank you so much for all that you do.
That's why I'm here. That's what I love about my job. I can say that family that's been saving up for 5 years so they can come to Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can get onto their favorite attraction. That's my hope.
Yeah. What is your favorite attraction?
I like them all. I really enjoyed Guardians.
Cosmic Rewind, the coaster.
Cosmic
the new
Rewind.
One? Yeah.
I have a soft spot for Frozen. I used to like the Troll ride, and I still think, harken back for the Trolls, but the Frozen is fun with the animatronics. Really like the Black Spire Outpost, how they did the whole immersion.
Yeah.
I was very concerned walking from one land to another land. How are we going to be immersed in this? It's going to be like a light switch. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
But when I finally walked through the tunnel, so this is good job.
Yeah. I love that you and we've had this in all the discussions we've had with current cast members and former cast members. Like everybody that's been involved with Disney feels that passion from like their own personal perspective, and they just want to share that with everybody else. And that's what I'm hearing from you too. Like I love that. So thank you so much. Are there any other interesting stories that you'd love to share that would our podcast audience of millions or dozens, hi mom, might be interested in hearing?
Let's see. I got a couple for you.
Yeah.
None specific, but I have a couple.
Yeah.
Working on The Carousel of Progress,
Yeah.
which is a classic. Every Disneyphile loves the Carousel of Progress
Yeah.
because Walt Disney had a hand in that one.
Yep.
Anytime I get to do any work on that, big or small, that's always fun.
That's
because
cool.
that's like a classic.
Yeah.
And also the Tiki Hut, because those birds have been around forever.
Yeah.
Those birds are getting tired. They definitely want to retire by now, but they're not looking at retirement anytime soon.
Wow. Okay. I hadn't even thought about that. Are the birds and like the animatronics stuff that you guys work on too, like make parts for all that?
A little bit, yes.
Oh, wow.
It's mostly the animation department, which they do all of the cool stuff. If you want to talk to a really cool person, find someone in animation.
Right.
They know all the secrets.
Okay.
But we do a little bit of help with little machine parts for the tiki birds.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I love the Tiki Room. You brought up Carousel of Progress. How does that thing work?
A little bit like the horse carousel behind Cinderella's castle.
Right.
It's just a big carousel, just on a larger scale.
Sure.
And the center doesn't move like a lot of carousels. It's all of the works and motors are in the center. And
Right.
You're on a big turntable that turns constantly.
And is it like railroad tire or railroad wheels kind of on a track that the floor sits on?
It's some sort. If it's not actual railroad tracks, it's something that's similar.
Okay. Got it. And then imagine like the motor's in the middle and there's some sort of gear and it's really just kind of pushing that floor around.
Yes.
So where the seating is, there's nothing complicated in there. There's no motors. There's no anything.
Just imagine like a carousel with the horses. If there's no moving up and down parts on the Carousel of Progress, it just moves in a circle.
Got
It's
it.
more simple, but it's larger. It holds more weight.
Right.
More simple and maybe more complex at the same time.
From an engineering perspective, it's probably a little more complex. Although maybe we could get those seats to go up and down in Carousel of Progress. That would make it a lot more exciting. Well, cool. Well, we have a couple questions, and I use we in the royal sense because Alicia helped come up with these questions, and she's not here today. Let's just talk about, we'll close out with some of your Disney favorites.
Okay.
So what is your favorite Disney character? And this can be across classic Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, everything that the mouse owns at this point is fair game.
My favorite character could vary depending on what day you ask me, but most days my favorite is Stitch. Because Stitch likes to get into just a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
And I wish I could be like Stitch.
Excellent. What's your favorite movie?
That is a good one. And probably the last one that I saw. It almost always is the most recent one I saw, which is Encanto in this case.
Excellent.
Like I said, you ask me again, and it'll be the newest one that I saw. But right now it's Encanto. I was all over the Pixar for a while. All of the Pixars, especially the ones that make you cry. But
all the Pixar ones make you cry.
Something about Encanto just hit me.
It is a great
really
movie.
Good.
It is a great movie. What's your favorite ride?
One of my favorites is probably it would be the very first ride I ever rode at Walt Disney World. Would be Rock and Roller Coaster.
That was your intro.
Launches you from a dead stop to a bazillion miles an hour.
Yep. That's awesome. Cool. I like that one too. All right. Have you been to California at all?
Yes.
All right. So Disney World or Disneyland?
That's a really tough one because I started with Disney World. I have a little bit of nostalgia for Walt Disneyland. It's almost like home away from home.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to go with Disney World.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What's your favorite park?
Like favorite character, it varies on the day. Most recently was at Animal Kingdom. Had the niece and nephew to Animal Kingdom.
Oh, nice.
And they loved all the animals. So it's between Animal Kingdom and probably Magic Kingdom. They're fighting back and forth for first place.
Excellent. You may not have an answer for this one because you probably have stayed at home rather than at one of the hotels or resorts. Do you have a favorite hotel or resort?
So every once in a while, they give us a night because they want to be nice to us, like a little perk. They'll test out a new hotel. I get to stay at Coronado.
Okay.
It was just very nice.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
I stayed at Sports for Bill and Rachel's wedding many, many moons ago.
Okay.
But Coronado was my favorite. I've stayed at a couple which are escaping me, maybe Beach Club or the one next to Beach Club.
Yeah.
They all run together.
Yeah, yacht and beach club, yacht club. They're all the same.
Yeah, it might be Yacht Club we stayed at one time. And,
Okay.
But that's pretty good. But I like the Coronado. The Coronado has a fantastic new main tower.
The
With a really good rooftop bar. You can get a good view.
Yes.
There.
The Destino Tower. Is that right?
That sounds right.
Yeah. And yeah, here. That rooftop bar is pretty darn good. I haven't been over there in my whole time that I've been down here. I've been down here in Florida for almost 3 weeks now, and I haven't hit that bar yet.
Well, you got to get over, see Bill, tell him to make you your favorite cocktail.
That's right. I saw Bill last time we were here. Not Bill, my friend, but Bill, my friend Bill's friend.
Bill the bartender.
Bill the bartender. It's complicated. What's your favorite Disney ship? Well, have you been on a Disney ship?
I have. That's
Okay.
funny that you ask. I've been on the Disney Wonder. I've also been on the Disney Wonder. So I've been on one ship multiple times just because that's how it worked out.
Yeah.
It's a fun ship. I guess it's a little small.
I mean,
I'm not sure. I enjoy it, but I'm ready to try a new one. I think they relocated it. I'm not sure.
the Wonder and the Magic now are kind of all over the place. Like they're kind of like the roaming free agents of the DCL fleet. So, but the Wonder's a good choice though.
I like the coffee bar that they added onto that.
Yeah.
And that was really good. But I'm ready I like to cruise different companies, and
Yeah.
I like different ships. Like I like to go to different parks. It's not the same park all the time. Same idea. Just
Yeah.
go on different ships.
variety is a good thing.
Maybe your next cruise will be out of the West Coast or
Yeah.
out of Europe or something.
Absolutely.
And then the next Disney cruise. We'll see.
Cool. What is your favorite Disney restaurant?
The one that really pulls is Chefs de France in Epcot.
Yeah.
Right. It's got a nice view of the lake, and
Yeah.
it's a great place for lunch. It's got that atmosphere. I've never been to France, but here, from a family that's been to France, it's got that French cafe vibe
Nice.
that you can sit and elbow with neighbors and,
Yeah.
and just chill and take your time, have a bottle of wine, have another bottle of wine.
All good things. All good things. What is your favorite Disney snack?
Disney snack. That's interesting. So it'd have to be the Mickey ice cream bar.
The classic, the Mickey Premium Ice Cream Bar.
Yes.
I like it. I mean, I would have also accepted the churros at Nomad Lounge, but the ice cream bars, it's fine too, I guess. Well, is there anything else you'd love to share with us?
I guess one quick little aside, going back to earlier, fun things that I worked on.
Yeah.
One time I got to work on one of the classics, one of my favorites. I say they're all my favorites, but they are. I got to do some work on Haunted Mansion. I got to work on Haunted Mansion. That was fun. So the ride was down. They could not load because the conveyor belt was not working anymore. I guess the motor died for the conveyor belt, so they couldn't load people. And it was down like on a Friday afternoon.
Okay.
It was really peak time. So I managed to hustle and get them a new shaft so they could get overnight, tear down the whole loading conveyor, and get it up and going for first thing Saturday morning, because a big rush on the weekends.
Right.
Which was really nice. Being one of my favorite attractions, I would be really sad if I went to Magic Kingdom and I wasn't able to ride.
So you had to mill a new shaft?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And that was a quick turnaround, really quick. Let's get it done as fast as we can. The mechanics are standing there waiting on it.
Right.
Like a fire drill.
Wow. I guess that leads to
But that was
question.
satisfying.
Yeah. How much stuff do you guys keep around? Like how much, you have to have a ton of stock of various different shapes and sizes and materials. Like, it's amazing you just would have had the right thing laying around that you could mill down into a drive shaft.
So probably 95% of what we do is planned, the planned maintenance. We're going to need new shafts and need new wheels and need new bearings.
Yeah.
So we have that stuff in stock, and we usually have a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit extra, maybe 2 to 5% spare.
Okay.
We don't like to carry a lot of inventory because
Sure.
we have limited storage space. We
Right.
have a little bit extra. So sometimes it'll come out of that little bit extra we have. Or we have vendors that we work really well with. They can get us materials same day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Within maybe 6 to 8 hours.
Okay.
Sometimes some are local, some of them will come out to us, some when we go to. Wow. But our good partnerships that we build locally help us out when we really in a bind that we need a piece of material to say make a new shaft.
Yeah, exactly. Well, John, thank you so much for not only rescuing Haunted Mansion, but keeping...
I wouldn't call it a rescue.
but for keeping everything running and put together and happening as best as you can thanks so much for lending your talents and your skills to the magic, because it's really impactful to millions of people. So thank you.
Well, thanks for that. I really do get my satisfaction, my job satisfaction of seeing little Timmy being able to go on Haunted Mansion for the first time and not having it down. Just knowing that I can't do it 100% of the time, but I can't be everywhere at once. But if I can help that one person, make their magic, even if I don't see it, I know that somebody is going to have a great day or a great vacation just because that attraction didn't go down or came back up as fast as possible.
Yeah.
That's what I look forward to every day.
I love it. Well, thank you again.
Thank you, Nate.
I want to thank John once again for coming on the show. It was so cool to get a peek behind the stage doors to see how Disney keeps the show running. I do want to emphasize that John was here on his own and was not speaking on behalf of the company. Don't want to get him in trouble. His opinions and stories are his own. Similarly, Alicia and I are not affiliated with Disney or their subsidiaries. These are our personal opinions and suggestions based on our own experiences. We recommend working with a travel agent or contacting Disney directly to plan your perfect vacation. If you have questions or suggestions or would like to be interviewed on our show to share your Disney experiences, please send an email to podcast@ourmousecapades.com. Go ahead and give us a follow on social media. We're at Our Mousecapades, pretty much everywhere you look. And then please do give us a rating and review in your podcast app. That really helps people find us. Thanks for listening. We'll be in your ears next week.
Thank you for flying Star Tours. Bye-bye.